So, my name is Stacey. I am with Stacey's Custom Cakes in Jacksonville, Florida, and I just recently launched edibletechguru.com. You'll notice that I'm wearing a slightly different outfit tonight because this is part of one of my passions of education and putting technology in the hands of decorators so they can do more with what they already have. So tonight what I want to talk about is Canva. And we've all encountered this situation where someone has sent us an image and said, I want this on my cookie, or I want this on my cake. But what they send you is a substandard image or a low resolution image. And we talked about several months ago the difference between a low resolution and a high resolution image. So the challenge that Debbie put me to was use Canva to take a less than ideal product and turn it into something really amazing. And that's what I have tonight. So this is not a real logo. It's a logo that I created for tonight. But what is real about it is this was inspired by a situation in my cake business where someone sent me a screenshot of their website and said, this is the logo I want you to use. And I was like, this is junk. It was really low resolution. It was very grainy. It was red for starters. And back then, we've all talked about how red can be a struggle. And I wanted to take it one step further and say, what if the prompt from the client was, here's my logo, but I want you to do something for a spring event that we're doing, either an Easter event or a spring forward event, something like that. So we're going to take a logo that is low resolution, not the color we want it to be, and doesn't look like what we want it to look like. And we're going to completely give it a 180 and do something really, really cool with it. So let's go ahead to my desktop and we'll take a look at what we have going on the screen. So I'm in Canva right now. And like Debbie said, one of the best things about Canva is it's constantly updating. In fact, I was working on some artwork for this evening last night. And whenever I launched Canva this morning, it said, hey, it's time to update. So you might see a couple of pop-ups here and there where Canva is announcing a new feature or re-announcing a feature that for whatever reason, the prompt was reset. So if you see that, don't worry about it, but Canva is constantly updating. So what I have here is the image that I've already brought into Canva. And to bring it into Canva, all I had to do was take the image and drag it into Canva. And that's all it took. And once it's in there, it's uploaded into your library. And you can always access your library right here in the Uploads panel. You can search in your uploads. You can manually upload a file if you want to do it the old-fashioned way instead of dragging it in. And then everything I've uploaded is in here. And you'll see that I have some other projects that I've been working on as well. And neat thing about Canva is when you open this on your Apple device or your Android device, everything here is going to be duplicated over. So you'll have access to it no matter where you go. So if you get struck by a creative moment while you're out in the field or driving around, doing groceries, whatever, if you're driving, pull over, and then do you have your creative moment. And whenever you hit save on it, it will automatically be on your desktop when you get back to your shop or wherever else you're doing your work. So what makes this logo complicated is the fact that we have this background from the website. It's not the color that we're looking for. It's the correct color for the logo, but we want a logo that is a spring color. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a new project. I come up here, I hit the plus sign, and it's going to say, what do you want to create? Well, if I do a search for cookie, a cookbook page is close, but that's not the right thing. It's definitely not a recipe cover. So since cookie is not an option in there, what we're going to do is create a custom sized object. So in this case, my cookie is going to be measured in inches, and it's going to be a 3-inch by a 3-inch cookie. So I hit create new design, and you'll see that it has an untitled design up here. Now, if I hit close on this, it will save it as an untitled design. So whenever I go to my home screen on Canva, I'll see a ton of unnamed design, unnamed design, unnamed design listed in there. But instead of doing that, what I want to do is come over here and immediately give it a name. If you were at my cookie-a-thon class on Saturday, you heard me talk about the ABCs of the kitchen, always be cleaning. This is one of your ABCs in Canva. You want to give it a name. So I'm going to call it Canva Demo. Hit enter, and it's immediately saved. You'll see that it just updated the name over here, and it will be in my home screen next time I open Canva. So now I need to grab that logo. I'm in the wrong folder. Here we go. And oh, look at that. The logo isn't there. I must not have saved it in that folder. All right. So I'm going to go over here to my uploads, and I'm going to go find that logo. Look at that. Because I already uploaded it, even though I forgot to save it in my sheet folder for tonight, it was still in Canva. That's one of the powerful advantages of Canva is your artwork follows you. So what I'm going to do is drag this up into the corner. And if you notice, the borders change color when I get close to the edge, and that's because they're snapping into place. Snapping is whenever two or more objects align either on their edges or on their corners. I'll grab this bottom corner here, drag it down, and if you look just below my cursor, you'll see it says width of 3 and height of 3. That gives me an idea of what size it is. So I know it's perfectly sized for what I want here. So what we want to do first is work on isolating this logo. And we can do that with an object in Canva called a frame. Now I could come in here and crop this out and edit it and do some other finagling with it in Cricut whenever I go to cut it, but let's take the easy route. So if I come over here to elements, and an element in Canva is any building block that other objects are going to, be added to in your design. So I want to look for something called a frame. A frame is a type of cropping object. And what the frame does is it starts out looking like a pretty little scenery, but watch what happens when I grab my image here and I drag it on top. It popped into the frame and everything outside the frame disappears. So if you've ever used regular graphic editing programs, you'd say, oh, that looks like a mask. You're correct. This would be the masking feature in Canva. So now I'm going to resize it. And now we're all done. We're ready to go, right? Not quite. This is not the design I'm looking for. So how do I fix it? If I double click on the design, you'll see the view changes ever so slightly. Canva does offer an option called Smart Crop, but that is not going to give us the results we want. I need something that's a little bit more manual for this. So I'm going to hold Command or Control on my keyboard and use my mouse wheel to zoom out just a little bit so I can see more. I can also use this slider down here to zoom. And I'm going to grab this corner and drag it out. And what I'm trying to do is get the logo so it's about the same size as the circle, but I do want a little bit of a border here between the logo and the circle, so the other artwork I'm going to apply will fill in. So now I'm just going to click and drag and move it around, get it about where I want it to go. Kind of like that. I kind of like the look of that. Boom. And now we have our logo. So now if I zoom back in a little bit, what is going on up here? There we go. I didn't have it quite sized the way it needed to be. That's the nice thing about Canva is you can infinitely go back and edit it because all of this style of editing is non-destructive. So now I have this image cropped out where I want it to go, and I want to put it on a background. But before I do that, I need to save it. So by saving this image, what I'm going to do is create a new version of the file. So I'll hit Share, download, and I want it to have a transparent background, and I'm going to download it as a PNG.
Hey, Stacey.
Yeah.
What command did you use to crop it?
I use the frame.
Okay. Can you show us one more time?
Yeah.
Like where that is? Sorry, we had a question, so I wanted to make sure she got that answered.
No, that's perfectly fine. So I'm going to hit the add a page here just to start over. And up here in elements, I search for frame. And there's a whole mess of frames in here, all sorts of different sizes and shapes. And I just click on that one frame and it brings it in here. Then I came over to my uploads and I'm going to drag my image in. Where did it go? There it is. And whenever I drag the image into the frame, that's whenever it does the masking or the cropping feature.
Now, there is another feature in there that you're not going over, and I don't know whether you will or not, that actually does a crop in on a picture without the frame.
Yes.
So that circle you saw with the blue and green, that's what's called a frame. Mm-hmm. And while it does crop the picture, there is an additional crop feature as well.
Yes.
I use frames all the time.
Yeah. I prefer frames over cropping just because they're more powerful. But to do a regular crop, what I can do is double click on the image. And then up here in the crop feature, this is where I can manually adjust the cropping. So say I wanted to do it like this, to where I only saw a little bit of the dog's muzzle right here. That's what that style of cropping does. And it gives you a rectangular image. All right, all good on that question? Any other questions on this part?
No.
Okay.
No, sorry, I muted myself for a second.
Oh.
But when there's a delay, it's usually I'm trying to get to that screen and hit unmute.
Gotcha. Just making sure.
So.
All right. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to share. I'm sorry. I'm going to click share and then download. And I'm going to download this image. And I'm just going to save it to my downloads folder. Hit save. Now here in add page, I'm going to start another task. I want a nice spring background. So I'm going to hit elements. I'm going to type in spring and see if I can find anything. So I'm looking for photos. I could do a video, but you can't print a video. I'm sure some people would try it, but what about cherry blossoms? Those don't quite look like cherry blossoms, but they're pretty close. So that could be a fun image. Let's see, we got flowers, got a kind of a grassy looking field. I'm trying to pick something that's a little bit different than what I did for the demonstration image, just to give you more ideas. So, I don't know, this looks nice. I think this will work. So now what I'm going to do is go over here to my uploads. And because I already did this with the logo once already, I'm just going to click it and bring it back in. Or if I didn't want to do that, I could go to my downloads folder and just drag it in. Let's see, where did it go? Oh, downloaded as a zip file. That's why I couldn't see it. There we go. So now you can see that it's a perfect circle and the logo is just the way we want it. But remember, one of the prompts that we had from the client is they're doing something spring themed. And this red, yes, there's some reds and some pinks in this image, but let's do something a little bit different. If I double click on it again, I can come over here to adjust. And some people, when they see all of these sliders here, they start to get nervous because they don't understand what all the different things that these sliders can do. But that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about. The first slider I want to talk about is the temperature. And temperature is exactly what it sounds like. If you remember what we talked about in color theory, with colors having a perception of warm and cold, red and blue respectively, you can use that to adjust the temperature of the image, and you'll see that it's pretty mild of a change. But if I go too far, my whites start to become orangey or yellow, and that's something that I don't want to do. So I'm going to hit undo. Same goes with tinting, but tinting is more of a lightness versus a darkness kind of effect. And some other features in here that we want to look at is, let's see, right here in sharpness. So if you remember me saying that this was a screenshot, so the image is a little grainy on the edges, what I can do is adjust the sharpness to pick up some of those details. Now I have to be careful because if I go too far, it almost gives it a faux 3D effect, and that might be what you're looking for, it might not. But if I adjust it a little bit, say maybe 30 to 40 or so, if I compare that, if I hit undo and redo back and forth, you'll notice that the edges of the lettering is much sharper now, and it's easier to make out what's happening here with the details. Also down here, you have clarity and vignette. Clarity is sort of like a soft focus or a sharper focus. And vignette is a feature where it adds a dark or a white shadow going around the end. Or I'm sorry, around the sides of the image. So in this case, a vignette would not be the effect we're going for. But what about this color? This right here, the color editor, is probably one of the most powerful features in Canva that people very rarely experiment with. So since this is a simple one color logo, it only noticed that there is one color in here, this red shade. But if I click on this red shade, I can come down here and adjust the color directly. And this is incredibly fun to play with. So on the hue is your spectrum of colors, your entire rainbow of the color, your entire range of colors within the rainbow are within the hue going from one side to the other. So if I take it and I start adjusting it this way, I get kind of a muddy looking mustard brown. But as I go further and further, I start to get to an emerald green, and then the green will then start to shift to blue, and I get to like a teal look. If I go the other way, it goes more red into the purples, then it goes into more of a pure blue, and then it starts to go towards cyan. So if you notice that on this hue slider, it starts with light blue and it ends with light blue, and all the other colors are in the middle. So for this particular one, I want something in the green range. And I kind of like the look of that. Maybe, yeah, I like the look of that. Now, that's a fairly St. Patrick's Day looking green. I want something that's a little bit more springy. So down here in my saturation is going from black to white. So this is kind of like your tinting, where you're changing the tint or the overall brightness or the overall color of an image, where white and black is being mixed in and out of it. So if I turn it up a little bit, you'll see I start getting a much more vibrant, a more saturated green, something much darker. If I go the other way, it becomes a more muted green, more like a sage. I want something brighter, so I'm going to go on the higher end of the saturation here. And then if you want to just tweak it a little bit more, I can go to the brightness. And the brightness is just like adjusting the brightness on your phone screen or your computer monitor, where it goes from black to white. I just need that to be tuned up a little bit. So just by making a couple of very quick adjustments here, I'm able to do all these edits. And one of the really great things about everything I'm doing right now in Canva, this is all part of the free base program. I haven't done anything that requires a Canva premium yet. So that's kind of fun. So now we have this logo and we have this background. Let's have a little bit more fun. Now, this is a paid feature that I'm about to show you, but this is a feature that you can decide whether or not it is good for your workflow and what you're doing. So I'm going to double click on it again. And let's see. I'm sorry, not in effects. I'm looking for apps. So apps are built into Canva now, and they're like extensions on your browser or extra plugins that you can get into other software. But I'm going to type in background remover or background eraser. And there's an app in here called Background Eraser, and this is a really powerful tool. What it's going to ask me to do is to choose a file, and it's going to remove the background. So in this case, I want to move this out of here and make this image the 3" by 3" size. And I'm going to download it like I did before. And while that's processing, the reason I have to download it is because every time you use an app like Background Eraser, it's not going to do it based on the image on your screen. You have to upload the image to it. So downloading the image and then re-uploading the image is what will let Background Eraser do its magic. So I'm going to go to choose file, and I'm going to select that image, hit open, and it gives me a preview of it. Now you notice that it automatically removed all of the transparent areas in the image, and that's because of the frame or the mask that we applied earlier. When I hit remove background, and sometimes these apps can take a few seconds to process. And of course, it's taking longer than usual because we're doing it live. When I was doing this the other day, it just took a few seconds. You're welcome, Terry. I do my best to pick out when the features are paid versus free. That way there's no surprises when you try to redo this yourself. Now, I have no idea why it's taking so long. But something you can do, like let's play a hypothetical. Let's say for whatever reason the background eraser decides it doesn't want to work for me this evening because I'm live, of course. That's when it does it. Or let's say you're using the free version and you don't want to do that. You could still move forward with this design. And I can show you another idea on what to do with this otherwise. So,
Now, Stacey, sometimes I find that for whatever reason, it just is a quirk in the system.
Yeah.
And I have to like refresh it, and it saves it from where I was at, which is nice. So you mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
But I find that when I get into a lot of designing and I have several pages open in the app. So if you refresh it, it may come right back. It could have to do with the fact that you're going live and that chews up internet.
Of course. It always does that. Let's see. I've never actually had to do a refresh on this.
Oh, I do it all the time. I always have 5,000 billion windows open. I'm sure you don't.
There we go. Let's try it again. All right. So background eraser. Nope, that's regular backgrounds. Background eraser. Try it again. Hey, look at that. It didn't do it.
You do things way different than I do. I'm seeing things that I've never seen before. I go in through edit and do it.
All right, well, let's try that. So let's go in through edit. So where do you go to do it?
I go up to edit, which is at the top of the screen, right above, over there. Can't you see me point?
No, I can't see you pointing.
Okay, there you go. And then I go to FX. Nope. Where'd you go? Okay, well, you did it. Okay. But you just taught me something, and I use this thing all the time. So.
All right, so I'm in effects, and then you use the BG remover right here.
Yep, right there.
All right, let's try this. Let's see.
It just automatically does it.
Ah, so this is very similar to how the background eraser works in Cricut. So, all right, this is cool. This is something I'm going to have to experiment with, see what I can come up with this. That's cool. Yeah, I love learning new things. So, all right. So let's pretend that for the sake of not wasting everyone's time while I experiment with a new feature, let's say that instead what we want to do is place the image as it is on our background. So I'm going to create a new page here just to start fresh. I'm going to go back to my elements, type in spring. Actually, no, I don't have to because it's right here. So I have this image and I'm going to blow it up to what I want it to look like. And I like the look of that. So I'm going to grab another circle frame, drag my image into it, and then make my image 3 by 3. And then I can come over here to my uploads where I had my vet logo and place it in there. Now, you can see that it's not quite centered, and I would like it to be centered. So I'm going to click and drag it. Oh dear. And you see how it's trying to put it inside the frame? That's not what I want it to do. So I'll hit undo. And while I'm dragging it around, I'm going to hit the escape key. And the escape key will tell Canva that I don't want it to drop into the frame. And you can see those hairlines in the center. Those are the snaps to snap it into the center. And whenever I let go, it's perfectly set up and it's ready to go. So once you have all of this done, then you're ready to save it and put it into Cricut to use Cricut Print and Cut. So what do you think, Debbie? Which direction should we go? Should we do a Cricut Print and Cut demonstration, or do we want to look at something else in Canva first? I'll put you on the spot to make a choice. Uh-oh, did we lose Debbie?
No, I'm here, sorry. I had to, Canva, sorry.
Okay, so let's stick with Canva. So what does the group want? Do we want to do another example of what we can do with these different ideas, or do you want to take a look at some of the AI-powered apps? What does everyone think about that?
I think you should show them that writing feature because I think that's the best feature in the world.
Okay, we can do that.
And then they can say something else.
All right, cool. So what I'm going to do is create a new document. So I'll come up here and hit the plus, and I'm going to go to document. And this is just like Canva's version of Microsoft Word. So over here in the apps, they have a section here called AI powered, and you'll see some other ones that are in here. And let's see, what was the name of the writing app that you used? Was it AI Writer?
Oh no, I actually, so when I do my whatever I have projects, okay. Let's say I'm working on something for one of the newsletters or just the whole entire newsletter. I'll bring up, I'll open a brand new document. In each page I use to decorate different elements so that I have everything in one document. So for example, I would go in and I would open up maybe an Instagram square. So as a new document, I don't do anything in what you brought up.
Okay.
Never use that.
All right.
And so I'll start typing out what it is I want to say, maybe for a newsletter article in one of those pages. So then I have everything in one place. So if I'm doing a newsletter like March, all my newsletters in March have one March file. And you can't even see me, and I'm animating. And each page will represent a different graphic. And then also I do the text, and then I bring everything back together. Hey, Susan. What was I going to say? So I'll start I just go to text. I open up I open up a graphic. I don't open up those documents. And I start typing in using the text tool what I want. And then you just click on that whole paragraph, and that option comes right up.
Ah, okay. So you use a different AI writer than I do in Canva. Okay. So I'm going to try it your way. Let's see.
We're going to teach Stacey a thing or two. All right. Now we had a question, Sue. You can save separately as multiple pages. I keep every project together, Sue, just for easy reference when I want to go back. I have each version in there when we make labels, and we make different versions of the label. Let's say we're making labels for the inks. We have a cyan, a magenta, a yellow, a black, and I have all those different versions. And then I save that whole file with each page in it as cartridge labels.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, okay. Write one more paragraph. Let's see. Oh, he's got to think. Sorry. So yeah, this helps me because sometimes when I'm trying to figure out what to write on something, and I know this really has nothing to do with printing, but I love this feature that much. And I'm just brain freezing. So I just type out my thoughts, and they may not make any sense. And then I click this button. It's really easy to show you guys this, and then he can jump into the other features.
Sure.
Yeah. Now right on top, it says Magic Write. Click it. Now, sometimes I copy this so that I have the original version too, in case I have a lot of thoughts out there.
Mm-hmm.
But go ahead, click on Magic Write.
I did.
You did? There it goes. And now I usually go rewrite. Sometimes I make it fun. Sometimes I make it formal. Sometimes I want it to summarize, which I never go short. So scroll down to rewrite. Third one down. There you go. Quick. What are you? Yours is weird. Like, did it rewrite it?
It did. Okay. Are you watching the live, or are you watching it?
I don't know which one I'm watching. Oh yeah, no, I'm watching the other one. That's why. Sorry, I'm watching the one where there's a delay, and that's what's messing me up. Sorry, guys. I'll look at this screen. Did you hit Magic Write, or did you hit Rewrite, or did you hit the?
I hit Rewrite.
Okay. Yeah, there's different ones. You're gonna like that one that really changes it. So then I go back and I read it to make sure I got it right, and I'll make changes and such. But that automatically will put all my thoughts together. That's just a tool I love, and I don't want to spend too much time on it because just because I love it doesn't mean it's going to help you when you're trying to do your images. So, all right. Now Tracy says, I always struggle with what format to start when I'm designing something, a flyer, document, a worksheet, etc. What should I be choosing? Sorry, the screen just muted. What should I be thinking about when choosing? So she struggles with the format. Yeah.
That's a great question. So that's the reason why I showed you the custom size feature, because that's where I tend to go for anything that I do for edible printing, because I know what size my media is, whether it's a premium icing sheet that's 8.5 by 11, or if I'm using a cello sheet that's A4. I can start with the custom size, and that will give me an idea. Or in the case of what I'm doing with the cookie, I started with the size that was 3 inches by 3 inches, because that's the size cookie that I'm working on and what I want the finished item to be.
Got it. All right, so we showed that, yeah, and Sharita said you got to watch the spelling with AI. You got to read what they write, because sometimes it's not right, or it's like totally different meaning, or it misses something that you wanted to say. But overall, it's an awesome feature.
It is.
Now they want you to go to AI.
Now they want me to go to AI. All right, let's do it. So we're going to do something completely different now. I'm going to create a new custom size, and I'm going to make this one inches. And I'm going to say this is, let's do a big cookie. Let's do a 6x6. Kaboom. Now, here is a beautiful photo from an engagement picture. And this is what I want to use for my design. But this is not the background I want. So there are some really amazing features in Canva that we can use. So I'm going to try using the background eraser again, because that one is really helpful for this. So I'm going to go to, and it lost where I was. Apparently nothing is working for me today.
All good, all good.
Ay, ay, ay. All right, so let's try it the other way with the BG remover.
There's a
There
do
we
you
go.
know about where it takes out the, like you can just grab that couple, you don't even use a background. So yeah, wait. So up there on that 6 that you just hit background remover, but look where it says magic grab. It's that also works, and it will just grab them out of it, and it will redo the background behind them too.
Yeah.
So I get excited about Canva. I'm a Canva geek.
In this particular setting, I wanted to do it this way. Just because I felt like whenever I used Magic Grab, it was trying to grab too much of the fountain in the background to do what I wanted.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason why I did it that way. So now I have my couple isolated, and you saw that that just took a couple seconds. And now what I want to do is add a different background to it. So I'm going to create a new page just to show you what I'm doing. And in my uploads, let's see, that wasn't it. It was wedding background. That's what I searched for. Here it is. So this was the image that I want to use for the background. But if I take my happy couple and I copy them and I paste them here, that's not exactly what I want, because I want to see more of the image down here for the background. So what I'm going to do is use an amazing feature in here called Expand. Now, Expand is a paid feature, but this is one of those killer features that's really, really, really powerful. And I can do a freeform or a whole page. I'm happy with the flowers up here, but what I want is this floor to be expanded. So I'm going to do a freeform, and I'm going to grab the corner down here and stretch it and hit Magic Expand, and it's going to think about it for a few minutes while the AI tries to generate the rest of that image. So what it's doing in this step is it's looking at all the pixel data and in the graphics to do an expansion on here. And I'm wondering if I just need to restart Canva because, there we go. And you can see that it filled in the area here. But at the same time, it's still thinking about it and it's giving me other options. So if I don't like the way this looks, it gives me different options. And you can hit generate new results to find other options in there. But what was it? 2 nights ago, I was playing around with this and I got a result that I really, really liked. So that's the one that I want to use. So I'm going to delete that, go to my uploads, and let's see here. Let's see, that's the one of the finished couple. Where did that image go?
Yeah, and you can expand it at all different different directions at once too. So you could expand it into the top, on the sides, and where I showed Stacey how to use the background remover, that's also where I go for Magic Expand. So there's different ways to get things, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Which I love.
So this was one of the results that it gave me the other night that I really liked. I liked the texture down here, I realize that it's smoother than it should be, but this is where the couple is going to be located. So what I did was I brought the couple in and I positioned them underneath the flowers here. And all I have to do is arrange it to where I want them to be. So if you remember where the original image was cut off, it was right about here. And this slight bit that you're going to see down here is not going to be noticeable in the finished product. So just like I did before, I would save this image and then add that to a frame. And that is how I ended up with something that looks like this. And the point that I'm trying to make here is it's the same technique that I'm using. I'm using the features in Canva to edit the photo to look the way I want it to. And then I export or save or share the file and then bring it back into Canva. That way, all the edits that I've done are committed to the image. And then whenever I do the finishing touches on it, like in this case with adding it to the frame, then I don't have to worry about Canva trying to rethink what I did previously. And it just does everything the way that I want it to. And then from here, I would go to Cricut, print and cut, and put them on my cookies or on my cake if I'm doing a cake.
That's beautiful. I love the way it turned out. And can you, and I haven't tried this, but I would love to know this. Like if you have just that couple, what if you use Magic Expand on the couple to get their legs back?
Ooh.
I'm just curious.
Magic Expand, actually, I should say AI in general has some struggle with organic shapes. It does not like hands. It does not like legs. So if you ask it to generate hands and feet and legs and whatnot, you'll get some very interesting results.
Oh, I've got some funky things before. It's pretty funny. When you're playing with the morphing, it's really cool.
Yeah.
And then it's like hilarious and you laugh and, you know, whatever. You start all over.
Well, you remember that one night I was using, there's a really neat app inside Canva called Animeify, where it turns you into an anime character.
Yeah.
And I took my photo, threw it in there, and on one generation it made me look 10 years younger. On another generation, it made me look 10 years older. So there's some really great experimentation stuff out there.
Yeah, I love doing that. I was doing it when I was creating that video for the Cookie-a-thon. I did Nancy, and she looked like Lady Di. I'm like, well, it doesn't look like her. It looks like Lady Di. So I can't use that. But yeah. You want to show us one more thing? We got like 7 minutes left. What do you think?
Oh, I don't care. What do we want to see? What do we want to try?
I don't know. Just pick one. Quick. We got 7 minutes. Okay.
Sure.
Terry has a question. If I'm designing something for a cookie, for example, and I want to replicate that design so it optimizes the real estate on the page, this is what you're going to do. So it optimizes the page in the size she wants. What's the best way to do that? That's what you're going to do.
Okay.
So you open up the 8.5 by 11 and work from there, then make 2.5 inch circles out of that image, or you can bring other images in too.
Oh wait. So Terry, are you asking to take a large image and cut it down, or do you want to take a small image and make it full page? I'm not quite sure.
What he's saying is she wants to make, like, instead of using pre-cut circles, she's going to use an 8.5 by 11 page printed out with 24 circles on there.
Okay, so you want to do that in Cricut then?
Cricut? No, Cricut out. Let's say she's using, I think she might be using a hole punch. If she uses Cricut, we're not going to have time to go into how to do that with it. But yeah, what Debbie said. So instead of using a pre-cut circle page, she's using the 8.5 by 11, which is really 8.5 by 10.5 I'd go with. Yeah. And then she's multiplying, and you can put different images on or whatever. She's going to use a hole punch to cut that out.
Use a hole punch. Okay. Now that I understand you're using a hole punch, that makes a lot more sense. So what I'm going to do is create a custom size, and I could do a letter size, but that's going to cause you some issues later on because we want to deal with those margins. So if you take, like say a premium icing sheet is 8.5 by 11, we want to take 0.5 inch off the sides for margin. So an 8.5 by 11 would be 7.5 by 10.
Why are you doing that? You don't need to do that. You just print borderless and it goes to the edge.
Well, that's how you can tell I use Cricut all the time, because I'm thinking.
Okay, yeah, then you don't need to, if she's using a hole punch, the paper size,
Yeah, we
I
can go the
actually
whole thing.
do 8.5 by 11, and then I just don't put anything up on that full that top hat, that top little tab, which is about a quarter to half an inch.
Right. All right, so let's see here. Where is
Challenging.
our logo? All right, so it's on the other page. Let's go ahead and take the couple that we just did here. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to paste it over here, and it brings it in. So let's say we're going to do a 2-inch. So I want to resize this to make it a 2-inch shape. There we go. So you can see just below my cursor, it says 2 inches wide by 2 inches high. That's how I know I'm in the right shape. And I'm just going to move it a little bit off the corner here, and then I can just start duplicating and moving them in. And I'll put a little bit of space in between each one. And one of the neat things in Canva is once you do something once, it has, I don't know what they officially call it, but I call it the magic duplicate, where if you hit Command or Control D on your keyboard, it will
do that. Okay, look right below that. You see that little box that came up? You just hit the one on the left.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's one way to do it. I tend to use Command or Control D on the keyboard because my left hand needs something to do, and it will repeat whatever you did last.
Okay.
So now I have all of these, and I can move them into the center, and you can see that hairline that appeared in the middle shows that I'm now centered. So I have them all, and I'm going to hit duplicate again, and I'm just going to drag them straight down with a little bit of a buffer. And then I hit Command or Control D, or I can hit the duplicate button, and it puts them all in there. So you can see something went a little bit haywire here, where those ones tried to move off. But I can just drag them right back in. And there we go. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 20 cookies ready to go. All I have to do now is save it as an image, send it to the printer, and then just start cutting them out with your hole punch.
Okay, so Tracy wants to know how did you copy that? He actually did Control D. You can also you can drag it, and when you click on what you want, there's actually a duplicate button right underneath as well. You don't have to have the same image on the sheet. And then there's another thing. Do you know about position? Click on position. Wait, where are you going? Put it back.
Yeah, you can also use
position and the way they automatically will lay it out for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the thing with Canva is they add things and all the time, and so like he does it totally different than I do. I love this position. Position is on the top bar right above the. I'm sitting here showing you with my mouse. It's not working. Right above the image, and you have a range and position. And if you have them all laid out, if you have them all grabbed, I think.
Yeah.
All right. Wait, I'm trying to unclick it for you. It's not working. Grab them all and make it like drag the mouse across all of them, like you're trying to grab all 4.
That's what I did.
Okay. Now go ahead and place more on the page.
Okay.
Okay. Hold on. Add more. Okay, grab all of them. Trying to figure out how. Do you have these grouped or not?
No. Are you talking about tidy up?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm trying to do it with my mouse because for me to explain it is harder. There we go. Tidy up. Tidy up.
So what tidy up does is it looks at how far the extents are for the entire group of images, and it will move everything so they're evenly spaced. So in this case, this batch on the left are a little bit too far to the left. So now if I move the ones to the left in and then go back to tidy up, it will sort everything out so they're evenly spaced across the entire page.
Right.